very quickly, Joe, any thoughts on this Brian Kelly LSU fight that's going on here?
I mean, like, leave it to Brian Kelly and also leave it to LSU to turn something that was already a calamitous mess into an even bigger calamitous mess. I know that you're a lot closer to this situation than I am. I made a video on it earlier today for the Sports Geek on just for TikTok and trying to put everything into a 1 minute, 30-second video explaining what was going down with the back and forth legal ramifications and framing of this whole ordeal. It was almost impossible to do because there is so many layers to this crap. I feel like we're going to just end up getting some sort of a settlement and this thing will go away. And this is just the efforts of both sides trying to put out information to make either side look like it's a villain.
In the grand scheme of things, you know what this tells me? Brian Kelly's not coaching again.
What, you think he's done? Like, you think that?
Yeah, I think he's done because Discovery's coming. And LSU's going to say that they're firing you with cause. And let me tell you what they're going to come at you with. They're going to come at you with Greg Brooks and the tumor situation. They're going to come after you with the alleged affairs. They're going to come at you with the divorce. They're going to come at you with the alcohol. You're going to now have to prove, if you're LSU, that was actual causes for termination. But make no mistake about it. LSU can't win this, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. However, why would Brian Kelly push the envelope on this when he's going to get paid regardless of all of this until LSU came with any form of action in saying that he was being fired or terminated with cause? Why would he want all of this in discovery about what's going on? Your children are going to be involved. Your child is still employed by LSU at the current moment. Your daughter is still, if I'm not mistaken, still in South Bend, or was still in South Bend. I think she was getting a master's degree. Why would you put your family through this if, first off, and then second off, why would you want for all of this to come out in Discovery if you're trying to get a job? And for Discovery, I mean, LSU is going to throw all the things that they have out there. Photos, evidence, everything's going to come out in this, Joe. If you're wanting to coach somewhere else again, why would you want all those allegations out there on you instead of you just going to a South Florida beach somewhere, kicking your feet up and drinking as many Coors Light and Michelob Ultras as you can?
Well, maybe that's what LSU is trying to threaten, is that all that information, which has been brought up, that they are trying to threaten.
LSU didn't threaten it. He sued LSU. LSU did not threaten it. LSU did not come to him and say, they did come into him and say, we're trying to give you a $25 and a $30 million lump sum.
Which, however, I mean, good on him for trying to get his full amount. As much as I don't like Brian Kelly, you should try and get your full amount.
I agree. But they also didn't sue him. Brian Kelly's attorney sued. So now LSU is going to counteract and say, and I hope that Brian Kelly's law firm told him, hey, listen, they're going to take massive shots at you, Joe. And here's the thing that bothers me the most. I know he didn't work at LSU. I get it. I don't want anybody's legacy, LSU's or his, to be tarnished. Listen, do people think he's an asshole? Regardless of what you think of him, Joe, look how many wins he's gotten. Can we just settle this shit and get it over? Let's both move on.
Well, that's why I feel like it's going to go to a settlement, because you don't want to get to the shit tossing point of this where they're just going to take.
That's over with, buddy. But that's over.
The only thing, though, if he's willing to sue, that kind of feels like there's an implication that BK and his lawyers think that they don't have any proof on any of those allegations that you referenced. Because you're right. It's a huge risk. It's a huge risk that going to court and all this stuff being brought up and dissected. It's a huge risk.
If you're Arkansas and Bobby Petrino, you're deciding if he should or shouldn't be fired because of past marital affairs, you're going to do it now for Brian Kelly, who literally just got fired, and it came out in Discovery in the court of law that he was cheating on his wife, allegedly. I'm just, again, allegedly. You're not going to do that. His legacy is going to be tarnished, He's going to have to go somewhere not like LSU. I don't even know if he will go in the P5 now, or P4 now, to be honest with you. I mean, Joe, they're going to take a swing. Now you got the Attorney General's office, like the literal government, fighting against Brian Kelly.
The biggest problem I feel like with all of this, though, is that Woodward released a statement saying why they fired him. So they can't retroactively come back and say that they could fire him for cause, not specify what that cause is, after they made it clear what the reason for was a lack of performance. Well, that's where like this whole thing, I think, starts to get really muddied, why LSU does not have as much leverage as it's maybe being led on to be.
You say that until LSU comes out with a statement of their bylaws in Section 1, Article 8, subsection L, stating that the sitting athletic director at no point in time can hire or fire someone that makes over $250,000. That such person should then get board of supervisor and presidential approval. So he might have not had the ramification or the authority to say we're firing you for your athletic performance. Now, you and I both know he got fired because he got his cheeks clapped versus A&M. Like, let's just be real. But they're going to fight this, and this is getting, yet again, very dirty. And does this hurt the LSU coaching search is the biggest problem that I would have.
Well, if Brian Kelly's lawyers were smart enough, I think that they would try to put as much information out there as possible to make LSU seem as dysfunctional as possible, or at least threaten to do so, because you bring up a really good point. That's where LSU gets hurt the most in all this, is that if there's even more evidence that LSU is a disorganized mess behind the curtain, because there's a lot of desirable candidates out there that are being brought up. And
no more behind the curtain, though, big dog.
But that's what I'm saying, is that a lot of it's out in front. But what else could Brian Kelly prove? Just like LSU is trying to prove that Brian Kelly was a awful person and that everything that he did, and he had a lot of transgressions that were worthy of him getting fired for cause. Brian Kelly has an opportunity to do the counter, which would do irreparable damage to LSU that would completely destroy their upcoming coaching search. Yeah, this whole thing, I think your biggest takeaway with this whole thing is, why can't it just be normal? Why can't LSU just pay him and get this done and over with? Because the added layers to it are only making them look worse.
Divorces are never clean. What?
I get that, but if you want to attract the 10 at the bar, you can't have your ex-wife sitting there screaming at you, fighting with you at the bar too.
That's a lie. You better have a shitload of money.
You better pay her to stay away. That's the point.
All right. You better have a shitload of money. I only got 27 cents. I have 2 kids. So nevertheless,